Now, I am going to introduce a session which I'm going to do my best to pronounce. Pecha Kucha. I think I got it right. So we're going to have a Pecha Kucha sampler with Catherine O'Brien and Paul Tranter.
Right now?
So there's 20 slides, 20 seconds each. You're on. As soon as they've got the slides ready.
No, that's fine. As soon as they come on, they start moving.
Good.
Ready? Yeah. Imagine talking to a transport economist or an engineer and asking the question, have you factored joy and wonder into your transport models? Now, in the next 6 minutes and 30 seconds, we hope to convince you that doing so would create happier, healthier, and more walkable communities.
In July of this year, the United Nations General Assembly passed a significant resolution recommending that member states give greater priority to happiness in our social and economic development policies, spearheaded by Bhutan, which has been using gross national happiness for years as a measure of success. And sustainable happiness is the ideal concept for embracing this resolution. It's happiness that contributes to individual, community, and global well-being without exploiting other people, the environment, or future generations. And in fact, it was children who really inspired the concept of sustainable happiness. Listening to their insights on their trip to school, saying things such as, we walk to school because we get to see a kitty or a pup and sing along with the birds. And so we could see that there was this natural sense of delight. And they seemed to inherently understand sustainable happiness. This grade 4 student had never heard of sustainable happiness, but she's really captured it so beautifully here. Walking to school makes a happy earth, which makes happy faces. And we see that all of us here at Walk 21 who are fostering active travel for all ages are encouraging sustainable happiness.
The positive emotions that children experience when they actively commute to and from school and other destinations is an example of sustainable happiness. Through school travel planning and walking school buses, schools and communities around the world are enabling sustainable happiness. This happens in all kinds of weather. Even walking in the rain to school in the middle of Manhattan can be a playful experience for children. Some children report that the best part of their walk to school is walking in the hard rain, jumping in the puddles and watching the water flow down the drain. Of course, sustainable happiness isn't restricted to school-aged children. We see the same sense of delight in toddlers. Active trips to daycare and to grandpa's house or the park are an opportunity for children to get physical exercise and connect with their community and their natural environment.
Happiness is much more than a good feeling, although it's great. We know from research that happy people tend to live longer, tend to recover from surgery more quickly. There's a protective factor as well with lower blood pressure and potentially reduced risk of cardiovascular disease. And these benefits are available to all of us. Other evidence suggesting that happy people may be less materialistic, more inclined to engage in environmentally friendly behaviors, such as walking and cycling. So you can see there's lots of reasons for us to be embracing sustainable happiness.
An important reason to focus on sustainable happiness for children is that they're getting fatter, sicker, and sadder. Obesity, type 2 diabetes, and childhood depression are all on the increase, as children's independent mobility has been replaced by adult-dependent mobility. These children are getting no physical activity, they're exposed to in-car pollution, and they've got no connection with the community or with nature. And parents today spend twice the time transporting and supervising children than a generation ago. And it's not making them happy. As Larry Frank's research shows, the more time you spend in the car, the fatter you get. And Australian research shows that the more time you spend in your car, the more likely you are to be an aggressive driver. We need to move away from cars, speed and consumption to happiness and well-being.
And we can facilitate this move with school travel planning. Green Communities Canada is leading a national project with partners right across the country. We're encouraging municipalities and school boards and all stakeholders to integrate school travel planning, sustainable happiness, and child-friendly principles into policy and practice. And here's 3 great ways where we can see school travel planning linked to sustainable happiness. For individual well-being, increased physical activity and independent mobility. For community well-being, more eyes on the street and social cohesion. For global well-being, we can be looking at reduced greenhouse gas emissions and better air quality. With nearly 7,000 surveys from across the country looking at the experience of parents on the trip to school and their children, we found that, well, they may be more relaxed sitting in their cars, but parents are feeling more rushed and less happy. And if we look at children on their walk to school, they were saying that they're less tired, more likely to be relaxed, and happier. In some locations where we found that children were not reporting being happier, we have to take a look at their social and physical environment. Is there bullying? Are there traffic dangers? Lack of sidewalks?
Here's a less quantitative way of appreciating children's experience of walking to school. Pictures of before and after a walking school bus started. The transformation in the smiles on the children tells its own story.
Well, we know that expressing gratitude and appreciation is strongly associated with happiness and well-being. And here's a great example where children in this Canadian elementary school chose to express appreciation to drivers who are doing the right thing.
As Tom Robbins once said, it's never too late to have a happy childhood. If we've convinced you that sustainable happiness is a worthwhile goal, please pass the message along to urban planners, to school principals, to parents and teachers, and to transport modellers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sustainable happiness. That makes me happy. So our next Pecha Kucha sampler is Ellen Vanderslice.
Don't look before you sing, before you let your heart take wing, before the wail of love long lost wells up in your throat and bursts into song. So long, heartbreak, if I make a fool of myself with you, about you, without you. Don't be cruel, it's cool, just sing along. You are the song. The walking brain lends itself to song. In 4/4 time or 3, I go out walking after midnight, just a closer walk with thee, walking my baby back home. And he walks with me and he talks with me. These boots were made for walking, walking in a winter wonderland. Walking down into sunrise, clouds of gold in the morning skies. I hear the birds, they're singing high and clear, and I'm filled with a loving for this world so dear, and for this hour that we're given to be the actors here, the actors here. And for this hour that we're given to be the actors here. She walked with a phone pressed to her ear, and the long ghost of a conversation hung behind her like a vapor trail. She will walk through it over and again in silent resonance, her smile safely stowed. It is a meditation, this daily walk over the same way, new each day, yet chronicled in memory as one elastic story, blending in all their seasons our neighbors and their gardens, the shops and their keepers. We walk, holding this riddled coherence. Luck doesn't lie in pennies in the street, no matter what Sunny Day said, the short order cook back at Joni's Big Red Grill when I waited tables. Luck doesn't lie in pennies in the street, and I don't have to stop to pick up every shiny thing I see. Hear me, people. I assert my natural right to free and responsible locomotion, unimpeded and unconstrained by artificial regulations and devices designed to subjugate walking to the tyranny of the car. Will you walk with me down through the years and shorten your step to mine and remember my bag? And don't I know down to my toes how you will refuse to hurry when the bell sounds? 3 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, 3 minutes. It was a pretty short walk down Pamoa Road and around the corner to Noelani School. Long enough for a little kid. My brothers went to school barefoot, but I, mainland bred, knew better. School demanded the dignity of shoes. Map in hand, I'm out to explore a city I've never set foot in before. Prepare to surrender your sweetest delights to this patient saunterer bent on the sights. We emerge into the Plaza Nueva, and I'm filled with a rush of delight. Our sojourn here is an eye at the window of civilized life. Nested in this place, the children claim their birthright of bright laughter. Deep in Hobhay Wood I walked, singing a new song. In a clearing, black branches crowded and groped over a rough table with a leering face. A dank misgiving seized me, and when later my film was chewed up and developing, I blamed hobgoblins. Once I played hooky from a conference in Yokohama. With Ruth and Oz, I took the train to Kamakura and set out on a walk from temple to visit the great Buddha of Daibutsu. Emerge from hiking, advised a sign in the wood, but intent on the Buddha, we trod on. It's a long, hard hike into the deep wild. Off the trail, we'll go 5 days without a sign of other folk into a land where birds and reptiles reign. Hello, my lizard brothers. It's not dark by the light of the Milky Way, but oh, it's quiet. Like a tonic, this respite sounds an inner chord. My garden will never charm like this wild alpine bloom, and here are all the stages of life, death, and decay, the evidence that every living thing is about its business. We fall into the cracks of our lives and make of them what we can. The long root of the pine bears witness to the fault in the stone. This life, here, now, unfolding as it must. Wind and water, gravity and glaciers long gone, their sculpting power is everywhere on display. Over the wrinkled granite I stride, while in super slow motion the earth twitches her haunch. My poor weary feet are so sad and so sore, they really just don't want to hike anymore. But valiant and virtuous souls that they are, they keep right on walking no matter how far. Hooray, hooray for feet, I sing for feet, I sing for feet, I sing. Hooray, hooray for feet, I sing. That's my ode to my virtuous appendages.
Ellen, to use your words, I am filled with the rush of delight. Thank you so much for that, and thank you very much to all of our speakers to this point in the morning. We're going to end here with a few notes from Sandy, a few
The
housekeeping items before we take a break, and then we'll start up again at 10:30.
Thank you so much.